My birthday's in December, so I got
Yeah,
one of my birthday gifts was like an advent calendar. Oh, because they're huge on advent calendars in Austria. So they have
really.
an like if you want an advent calendar of like anything, you can probably get it.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Life Exchange Stories of Understanding. I am your host, Kelsey Ross, and today we are joined by an extra special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi, my name is Marina, and I'm from California, and I went to Austria with YFU, and I did a dance program.
Marina, thank you so much for being here and joining us today and sharing a bit about your experience. I am so happy to talk to you. So to begin with, how did you first hear about YFU?
So my mom actually did an exchange with YFU when
Really?
she did a gap year. So she went to Spain. And
Cool.
she's a local coordinator for YFU, so it was kind of just like a given that I would go through YFU when I did my exchange.
Gotcha. Makes complete and total sense. I've asked this a few times to some of the alumni, but I'm curious to hear your perspective too. I mean, obviously you have your mom's influence with being on a gap year with YFU and being a local coordinator, but a lot of students in America will generally wait until college to study abroad. So why do it in high school?
It was always something I wanted to do, and I like learning languages and stuff, so I knew that it would be easier for me to learn in high school when I'm younger, and I didn't want to wait until college. I wanted to like experience it before. So my
Awesome.
sophomore year just seemed like a good time to do it.
Wow, that's really young to be going on exchange too. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that languages and learning them is something that really interests you. How many languages do you know out of curiosity?
I speak four. So I
Wow.
speak English, Spanish, French, and now German.
Wow. And have you been speaking all of those languages from the time you were like born, or were these things that you learned later on?
So Spanish was actually my first language because my
Okay.
mom did her exchange in Spain, and then my dad also speaks Spanish. So they
Okay.
only spoke to us in Spanish when we were babies, and then I learned
Hmm.
English when I started school.
Hmm.
And then French, we lived in Canada, in Quebec for 2 years. So
Okay.
I think actually that's part of what influenced me to do an exchange because I saw how much I loved living in a foreign country. And then yeah, and then German I just learned last year.
That's so cool. And you mentioned too that you went on the dance program. So I'm assuming you've been dancing for quite a long time as well.
Yeah, so I started dancing. I like doing ballet when I was like 2 to 3, but it's kind of off and on. I'm not like
Mhm.
crazy good or like I'm not going to become a professional and by no means, but
Okay.
I saw that Austria had this and I thought, oh, this could be like a cool opportunity, maybe like meet some new people and have a built-in sort of already extracurricular activity.
Hmm.
And that's the reason also that I chose Austria over Germany.
Gotcha. Okay.
I thought it would be cool.
Awesome. And so it sounds like you were toying around a little bit with a few different programs, Germany
Mhm.
being one of them. And what was it about Germany that had intrigued you to potentially go there on an exchange?
Germany would have been just the language because I knew I wanted to learn German. So then it was like between those two. And I also considered Switzerland, but then I think I'm glad I chose Austria because Switzerland has a different dialect of German that's
Yeah.
quite different. So I learned like High German in Austria.
Gotcha. I know the dialect you're talking about. There's a friend of mine who ended up moving to Switzerland and speaks German, and he's a lifelong German speaker, and even he can't understand the Swiss German dialect. Apparently, it's
Yeah.
pretty hard to get unless you are born into it.
Yeah.
So definitely makes sense why you chose what you did. But no hate to Swiss German speakers. I
No.
envy you and admire you. So you and your mom had talked about going on exchange, the opportunities that you had to do this. Were you the first person in your family to go on exchange after your mom's gap year?
So yes, because both
Okay.
my brothers are younger than I am. And my dad also went on exchange, but he was in college. And my
Gotcha.
parents haven't met yet.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And, how did those conversations with your parents go about getting ready to have you go on exchange? It sounds like your mom was pretty supportive the whole way through. How did your dad feel about it?
He was also really supportive. Like, I got asked quite a bit if it was like my idea or if my parents were the ones who wanted me to go. And it was like, it was completely my idea. Like,
Yeah.
my parents were supportive of me throughout the whole thing, and they knew that it was something that I wanted to do for my personal goals and stuff. So they were pretty supportive and let me do it.
That's fantastic. It's nice that you didn't have to do a ton of convincing. I've heard from a
Yeah.
few students that they had to go through some pretty interesting ways of trying to convince their parents to let them study abroad.
Yeah.
You're their babies. I understand it's a
It
hard
makes sense.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They just want to protect you and look out for you. I completely get it. Getting back to dance, is ballet the only style of dance that you know, or do you know, or do you practice other styles of dance?
Ballet was the one that I studied like most, but I
Gotcha.
did jazz also
Ooh.
at some point. And then in Austria, I had three classes. So I had
Hmm.
ballet and then acro slash modern slash jazz. So it's kind of like a mix. And then at the last class was Pilates.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. And getting into kind of more the application process and preparation for going to Austria, did you have to submit any sort of like reel or footage of your dance and your dance ability to be on this program?
No,
Okay.
I had to submit like a letter of motivation, like why I wanted to
Yeah.
do the dance program.
Hmm.
But no, actually was kind of surprised that I didn't have to. But
Yeah.
the dance classes turned out to be like pretty chill. In ballet, it was me
Hmm.
and this other girl who was like 9.
Aw.
In like acro, I was actually alone, and in
Wow.
Pilates was with like 3 other women who were like 20, and then one woman who was a bit older. And my
Whoa.
teacher was actually from Australia.
Whoa. All
Yeah.
right. Oh my gosh. How did that feel being like in those different environments and having that wide range of ages with you and also being on your own for a little bit of it? Was any of that intimidating or scary at all?
I mean, it was a little bit like, it definitely took some
Yeah.
getting used to,
Yeah.
because when I had my dance classes, like, here at home, like,
Hmm.
it's with people my own age mostly,
Yeah.
so it was definitely interesting, especially in ballet with the different skill levels, because the girl who was with me had never done ballet before. So the teacher kind of had to like teach us both separately a little bit. But I mean, it was cool though. Like
Yeah.
the just meeting like the different age Austrians that I wouldn't otherwise come into contact with.
Right. And I'm curious if you had asked them or if you knew, is that sort of like smaller setting with a wide variety of ages, like typical for an Austrian dance class?
I don't think so. I think this was just not a special studio, but just a like unique situation. I
Gotcha.
don't really know how YFU like picked the dance studio,
That's
but
all
it
right.
it limited my placement. I had to be in
Mm.
Graz, which is the second largest city in Austria, and that's where
Hmm.
the dance studio was. So I had to
Gotcha.
be placed there. And the dance studio owner is actually she owns like a dance company, and they perform all over Europe. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's
It's pretty
so
cool. So
cool.
my dance
Yeah.
teacher would be like, she would be gone sometimes because they were
Mhm.
going to Spain to perform or Greece to perform. So it's always pretty cool.
That's awesome. Were you able to catch any of those performances while you were on exchange?
Unfortunately, no,
Ah,
but
that's too bad.
they have a band also, and they like release songs on Spotify. So
Oh my gosh.
I've like listened to the songs a couple times just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that is the most unique and coolest dance studio I've like
Yeah.
ever. A band?
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Well,
mean,
they just
I
like sing, and
okay.
then when they perform, like they also sing their songs and like
Whoa.
dance. Yeah.
Dang, okay. I mean, that's a lot of skill and a lot of like athleticism and breath work, especially for certain types of dance styles. That's intense. Okay. Did they have you do any singing while you were practicing your dance?
No, I didn't get that
Okay.
far, but
Maybe later.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So going back a little bit more into the preparation. So you had mentioned you learned German and were learning German for a lot of this and just to know German. What did you do to get your German skill up to be ready for being on program?
So I actually did like a couple weeks of Duolingo,
Okay.
but I mean, I don't feel like it really helped that much except for like memory of 2 words. So I actually
Gotcha.
arrived in Austria and I spoke basically no German.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did how did you navigate trying to get through Austrian without that German experience and knowledge?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. It was definitely a challenge, but with my
Mhm.
host family at the time, we spoke in English, so they would I can't remember. I think they would speak to me in German first and then say in
Mhm.
English.
Okay.
And it was kind of just like it was kind of just a process, just like kind of
Yeah.
waiting until I had that level to get around without having to like Google Translate everything. But it
Yeah.
definitely was overwhelming because especially like shopping when there's so
Yeah.
many words on like the product bottles and I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay,
What is that?
overwhelmed, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
it was kind of just waiting.
yeah, so having the host family support and waiting helped with the overwhelm and the anxiety. Were there any other things that you did to help with navigating that feeling of overwhelm?
Um, I had I had a German class, German as a foreign language class at my
Okay.
school, which
Yeah.
I think was really good. I
Mhm.
was with it was actually a pretty small group. I would say we were like 10 people. So there were a couple people, immigrants from Ukraine, a girl from China, a boy who's also from California. So it was like kind of a big mishmash. And since it was such a small class, the teacher was able
Mhm.
to focus on us like pretty individually. And I think like I credit a lot of my German to that class. I think it was really good to have. And
That's
YFU Austria also offered a German class. So that
okay.
was twice a week via Zoom call.
Gotcha. All right. That's great. It sounds getting you prepared as much as possible to have your German skills ready in your back pocket. That's I'm glad that you were able to have so many resources at your fingertips to help
Yeah.
you with learning that. I know, especially for a lot of the American students who want to go abroad, a lot of them don't have that language experience and they're like, what am I going to do? It can be pretty scary,
And
honestly, but
it is.
yeah, it is. Yeah, we're not trying to downplay that. It can be it's scary, but that's okay.
Yeah,
That's part of it. That's going
it
through
is.
it.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Going back to that host family, what was that moment like for you when you had discovered like this host family has chosen you to be their student and to live with them?
So I was actually a bit of like a special case. So I had like a welcome family, so a
Okay.
temporary family.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to host me for like the first 3 months until
Mhm.
YFU found me another family. So I actually didn't find out that I had a host family until like 2 weeks before I left. Which I mean, it was a little bit like I think part of it was because of the how I had to be in Graz in the city
Yeah.
because in the city everyone lives in like apartments and they don't have
Yeah.
room really to take in someone else.
Yeah.
So I didn't find out that I had host family until 2 weeks before. I mean, it was still like a cool moment to like find out that I got get that email. Oh, you have a host family, and I did
Yeah.
a like a FaceTime call with them before I left, so they could
Yeah.
like meet me and meet my parents.
After, you have your welcome family, you have your program, you're getting ready to go, and then you hop off that plane and you're in Austria. So,
Yeah.
what was that moment like?
I it was kind of like I was just so excited. I actually flew to Austria with another American girl who's also doing her exchange in Austria. So
Yeah.
that was really cool that we got to kind of share the moment.
Yeah.
And at the airport, we were met by the YFU volunteers. And from there, we took trains to get to our host family. So there was another boy who was also living, like, he would have also taken the same train as me. He was from Latvia. He arrived at the same time as us, but he took like the last ticket on the train. So then I had to wait like 3 hours at the airport until the next train was going. And
No.
then, yeah. But it was okay. I mean, I talked with the
Yeah.
volunteer and like they taught me like the most important thing in Austria is like Sonntag is Ruhetag, which
Mhm.
means like Sunday is like the rest day because nothing is open. And I remember them
Okay.
teaching me how to say that.
All right. Yeah, pretty different from like especially in California where tons of things are open all the time. So was there a bit of an adjustment period for getting used to that Sunday day of
Definitely.
rest? Yeah.
Definitely. Because on Sunday I would like have nothing to do and then I'd want to go
Yeah.
shopping. But all the stores were closed.
No.
And
So,
also, all the stores close at like 6 p.m. So after 6 p.m., like, there's nothing to do.
oh my goodness. So, how did you find ways to like keep yourself occupied and entertained during those times?
A lot of times I would do, like, I went hiking with my host family once on a Sunday and then meeting up with friends and just like hanging out in a park or something.
Nice. So, were you able to attend traditional like Austrian high school while you were on exchange too?
Yeah, my school is actually like a music school because I think it's because of the dance program. I'm not a musician.
Okay.
I played piano when I was younger, but I didn't tell the school this. Like the school has no idea because I had music theory class and it was like
Okay.
advanced music theory
Oh,
and because it's a music school and I
yeah.
never studied that. So I was like, "Oh, I cannot tell them that I know piano because otherwise they would expect me to do well."
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, it was like a pretty normal Austrian high school, but
Yeah.
my class was super small. We were 13 in my class.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how would you say, other than like the class size, how would you say your school in Austria differed from your one in California?
I think the like student teacher relationship is a lot different. It's sort of like older, not archaic, but sort of like more old fashioned, I would say. Like we would have to stand up in the classroom whenever the teacher came in the room. Like even if the teacher was teaching and another adult came in the room, we would have to stand up, which was
Okay.
like I was not on the first day of school like the teacher walked in, they all stood up and I was like, "Why are they standing?" And then I stood up too, but it was
Yeah.
like came as a surprise. And then just like the school system, like how they do the grading, for example, they have grades from 1 to 5, and
Okay.
1 is the best, and
Hmm.
5 is like fail. So that was
Gotcha.
also interesting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And the credit, like the education and the credits that you earned in Austria, is that all going to be able to go towards your graduation in the United States, or was it kind of like a gap year situation for you as well?
Think it counts for me. Like I get
Okay.
to progress. So I was on exchange for my sophomore year and then I'm coming
Mhm.
back and I'm going to be a junior. So I didn't lose
Okay.
any time.
Well, that's great. That's
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And with the smaller classes, do you feel, or the smaller class size that you had, do you feel like it was easier to make friends, or was it still like a little difficult to make new friends there?
It was I think maybe it was easier,
Hmm.
especially like at the beginning
Yeah.
because it's so like obvious when you have a new face in the classroom. And I was the only new student.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty okay. Like
Yeah.
my classmates were pretty nice and the
That's
boys in
good.
my class were a little crazy. Like they were a little bit like disrespectful to the teacher,
No.
but they would like throw stuff when the teacher's back was turned and like stand up and walk around randomly, but
Oh
other
gosh.
than that it was good.
It's nice to know some things don't change when you're
They
in a
don't.
new country.
It's true. Yeah.
For future exchange students who may be beginning their program soon or considering it, do you have any advice for them for how they can go about making friends?
Just be like super open
Yeah.
to everyone because first impressions aren't everything. So
Yeah.
like maybe someone that you don't really talk to at the beginning just like becomes your best friend, you never know.
Yeah.
And just yeah, just being super open to everything and like saying yes to invitations and trying to find like activities outside of school because especially I mean in Austria it was sort of like school is school. Like
Hmm.
there are no activities really connected to it. Although I did have dance at school also. But yeah, like I also did ice skating when I was there and I made like some pretty good friends through that. Um
Cool. Had you ever ice skated before being in Austria?
I had, yeah. So I
Okay.
did a little bit of figure skating before, and
Gotcha.
so I just like kind of signed up for a class there too.
That's awesome.
Are you ready to see the world and gain a global perspective?
With YFU USA, you can study abroad and immerse yourself in a new culture, language, and way of life.
It's more than just an adventure. It's a chance to grow academically and personally.
Start your journey today by visiting yfuusa.org and find out how you can study abroad with YFU USA.
Bye.
And I'm curious, like, could you walk me through like what a typical day was like for you while you were on exchange and going to school?
So once I changed to my like permanent family, I would wake up really early. I would wake up at 5:45.
Okay.
Because I had to take the train to get to school.
Okay.
So I took the train and then I would be at school from 7:45 until 12:25. So I got out really early, like
Yeah.
at 12:30. And I would have 5 classes each day. And then on normal days, I would just go home and I would get home at around like 2. And then on days when I had an activity, I could go to the library. I would go to the like state library
Mhm.
and do work there because I had to do some math for my school here in America to get credit. So I'd go to the library and then I'd go to my activity, which was like either dance or figure skating or like meeting up with a friend or something. So, and then I would go home.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then speaking of finding your permanent host family, about how long after you arrived did you find out that you had one?
So I ended up changing host families in the beginning of November, and I actually moved in with a girl who was in my class. So I kind of like I found myself a host family,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, I arrived in Austria on August 31st, and I switched host families about 2 months after that.
Okay. And how was it creating that bond and that relationship with your permanent host family?
I mean, it was sort of the same as
Yeah.
with my like welcome family.
Yeah.
Just that I knew like I'm gonna be staying here. Like it might have even gone faster than with my welcome family because at that point I already had some German level and I already kind of like knew how things kind of go. So I think yeah, it was like pretty fast and I remember we celebrated Thanksgiving, which was also coincidentally my host dad's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. So we cooked for Thanksgiving and I remember feeling like by that point I was already like integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did you cook your host family the whole Thanksgiving dinner with like the turkey and all of that?
We did cook a turkey, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had like mashed potatoes and stuff, but my host sister and I uh cooked it and then my host mom helped with the turkey.
That's fantastic. And were you able to experience any holiday traditions that were special to Austria while you were there?
Yes.
Okay.
So we went to midnight mass for Christmas
Okay.
at the church. It's
Yeah.
actually it's pretty interesting because like Austria is like a Catholic country, but a lot of Austrians go to church like only like once a year for Christmas or for Easter. So that was
Gotcha.
pretty interesting for
Yeah.
me. So yeah, Christmas was the midnight mass, and then there's a thing in Austria where like the Nikolaus, they're like men sort of dressed as Santa Claus. They come to like the village and they bring like gifts, I think it is, for the children for
Cool.
in the beginning of December. I think it's like the 6th of December.
Yeah.
And there's also this thing called Krampus, and it's sort of like a demon. Like it wears like a big
Yeah.
mask, and they go around and they like parade and they like hit people, and yeah, it's like pretty aggressive. I didn't actually get to see them, but I like heard about it, and they had one
Yeah.
in my town, like a
Cool.
Krampuslauf. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. That I think like there was a movie not that long ago like called Krampus. It was like
Oh,
I
probably.
think
Yeah.
I think it was about something similar.
Yeah.
So, do you know like what the story is behind them? Like what their purpose is? What is Krampus about? Like why are they
I'm
hitting people?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I think they're like the helpers of like the men dressed as Santa Claus. They kind of like
Gotcha.
they come for the bad kids and the Nikolaus come for the good kids. I think,
Gotcha.
but I'm not
Okay.
too sure.
Gotcha. That make that tracks for sure. And then were you able to try any traditional like, or really good food while you were in Austria?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, my favorite
Mhm.
like savory thing, it's called a Käsekreiner, and
Mhm.
it's like a sausage that has like cheese in it. So that was like probably one of my favorite things. And then
Yeah.
I also tried knödel, which are like dough balls, kind of like
Mhm.
dumplings. I think it was April. I visited my first host family, so my welcome family,
Aw.
and
Yeah.
we had a whole day where we just like made knödel. and we made
Cool.
like a whole bunch of different varieties. And I want to cook some Austrian food for my family here someday.
Yeah.
One day
Yeah,
soon.
that's great. They gave you recipes to take back with you?
Um, I could probably ask for recipes. I
There you
didn't get.
go.
I forgot to ask, but
I mean, there's a lot happening when you're trying to head back home.
yeah.
It's understandable that's forgotten. But that's cool you were able to still keep like a connection with your welcome family too. So
Yeah.
you've been keeping in contact with them like the entire time while you were still with your permanent family as well?
It was a little less
Yeah.
in those first months when I first switched,
Mhm.
but then actually my my first host mom became my support person. So she became
Oh,
my local coordinator kind
yeah.
of. So
Gotcha.
then we would meet up once a month in a coffee shop, and that was good to kind of maintain our relationship.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. Like had two families looking out for you and
Yeah.
making sure you're having a great time. That's amazing. And I'm sure not the entire time that you were there wasn't all amazing and great. So were there any challenges that you had to overcome while you were on program?
At the very beginning, my challenge was with German. I was really frustrated, and I felt like I was never gonna get a good enough level because
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my first challenge, and
Mhm.
I didn't get too homesick. My homesickness kind of
Mhm.
came in waves. Every 2
Okay.
months, I would have a period where
Mm.
I was feeling down. And it was also a little bit rocky sometimes. I mean, I think just living with a family, even with your real family, there's ups and downs. So with the
Yeah.
host family, obviously, that happens too. And then there were also times where I just felt a little lonely,
Yeah.
because my class was so small.
Mhm.
I felt like I didn't really have a chance to meet people. In February, I met a really good friend of mine,
Mhm.
and my closest friends were actually exchange students,
Yeah.
um, which I was kind of surprised by because I wasn't expecting to become closer friends with the exchange students. Then I thought I would have Austrian friends,
Yeah.
mostly, but it was actually the exchange students, and I'm really grateful for them. They're
Yeah.
amazing people, and I'm so glad I got to meet them.
That's great. I'm glad you had those friends with you to help you through those tough times. And other than leaning on those friends for support, how were you able to overcome the homesickness and those feelings of just feeling lonely?
For when I was homesick, I would mostly I would call my parents.
Yeah.
And sort of just talk it out with them.
Yeah.
And as for feeling lonely, I tried to just do more activities. I tried to just fill up my schedule as much as possible, because when you don't have time, you can't feel lonely.
Right, exactly. Too
um,
busy for that.
so I just tried some new activities. I'd go to the
Yeah.
library more. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you had mentioned your dance, of course. You mentioned ice skating. What other activities were you able to get into while you were on program?
I had at my school, I joined Serbo-Croatian, the language.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I had
Interesting.
a class of that once a week.
Yeah. So you're learning German and you're also learning Serbo-Croatian at the same time?
Well, it was Serbo-Croatian, I wasn't planning to get fluent. It was kind of just
Yeah.
it was a class once a week for an hour, so
Okay.
it wasn't really
Gotcha. Not super intense.
no, no, no.
Okay.
It was just for fun.
Yeah.
Cause when else am I gonna be able to take Serbo-Croatian?
Right.
When else? And I also I did this once. I went rock climbing with a friend once,
Whoa. Okay.
but yeah, those are sort of those are the activities,
Yeah.
basically.
Was it indoor rock climbing or
Yeah.
your
In
okay.
a boulder hall thing.
Okay. Gotcha. It's Austria is pretty mountainous in parts of it, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Not climbing up a mountain.
No, no, no. I'm not
So
that brave.
I give you a ton of credit. I mean, I give you credit for doing it the indoor style. I'm terrified of heights.
Thank
So
you.
all the props to you.
We ended up
Um,
actually playing ping pong for half the
nice.
time, but yeah, it's okay. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. And speaking of the other areas of Austria, were you able to explore a bit of the country while you were there?
Yes, I was. And
Yeah.
the public transport was so awesome. The
Yeah.
trains, amazing. The only parts I didn't get to were like Innsbruck and Vorarlberg, so like the very like I think it's westmost parts of Austria I
Mhm.
didn't end up going to. But I got to see like all the major cities. Like I went to Salzburg, I went to Linz, I went to Vienna quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because all the
Awesome.
exchange students, we would sort of like when we would have seminars, we would all meet up,
Mhm.
and then sometimes we would just organize days to meet up just for the day, and then maybe I would
Yeah.
stay the night at one of their houses and just like hang out together.
That's great. And like the public transit, did you have to like talk to your host family before you left, or was it a bit more like freedom there?
At my welcome family, it was like they lived in the city, so I could just
Yeah.
take the tram to get
Mhm.
to wherever I needed to go. But with my permanent family, there were no buses from where they lived to the train
Mhm.
station, so
Yeah.
they would drive me. Like I would have to ask if I wanted to go
Okay.
somewhere. They
Gotcha.
would take me.
Gotcha. And I'm pretty sure like in the winters it gets quite cold in Austria. I'm not sure where in California you are, but I have to imagine it's not nearly as warm there during the winters. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, yes. I live in Monterey, which is
Oh,
like by the ocean, so we don't get snow.
oh gosh.
But people were actually, because there is snow in some parts of California,
Yeah.
which people were actually really surprised to hear. They were like, "You know how to ski? How do you know how to ski? Where do you ski?" It's like in California.
Yeah. Are there any other like funny or stereotypical questions about the United States or California that people asked you while you were on program that stood out?
Everyone just sort of assumed I was from LA, and a lot of people asked me if Miami was near where I lived.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's like, I think it's so funny because we have that
yeah.
stereotype that Americans are really bad at geography,
Yeah.
but Europeans don't know very much about the US either.
No. No, it's so much bigger than they think. Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard a few stories where there'll be people like at Disney World, like European families on vacation, they'll be like, "Oh, if I, start driving, I'll be in LA by tomorrow. I'll be in LA by like the morning, right?" It's like, "Oh, no, no, sweetie, no. What are you
Exactly.
talking about?"
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
And aside from that, I
Mhm.
mean, I got asked about everyone would ask if I'd tried crumble cookies.
Oh, okay. Well, had you?
And I have like once.
Yeah.
And I mean, from the one cookie that I had, I think it's a little bit overrated, but I have to go back and just like
Yeah.
double check.
Yeah. Gotta check that one more time.
Yeah.
And did you have any sort of like preconceived ideas about Austria before you went that started to change after being there?
I feel like I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
I feel like just the average person just doesn't really think about Austria very much. So I did not, and I'd never been.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like, I mean, The Sound of Music,
Yep.
was shot in Austria, right? But
Right.
it's a lot of Austrians like don't know what it is. They've never watched it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. They're missing out on Julie Andrews.
I
How you
know.
gonna not pay Julie Andrews her respect? Give her flowers.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
I just expected like the mountains and stuff, the nature.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I didn't really know much about Austria.
Yeah. Would you say you walked away with a lot more knowledge of Austria than you had
Oh,
before then?
definitely.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. One thing I didn't know, so I wasn't really aware that German had dialects, like depending on
Mhm.
like I knew about Swiss German, but
Yeah.
I didn't know Austria has like basically a different dialect for every like region. So
Really?
like there's a Vienna dialect and there's a Salzburg dialect and there's a Styria dialect. So I didn't know about that, but thankfully I
Yeah.
was going to school in the city, so I
Mhm.
learned like High German.
Mhm.
But my host family actually spoke dialect, and like I can understand it. I
Okay.
just don't like to speak it.
Understandable. I was curious if like the different dialects are able to understand each other when they're talking. It sounds like
Mostly,
they yeah.
It depends. There's some like old men who speak dialect,
Mhm.
and like I was in the tram once, for example, and like there was this like old man. He like randomly started talking to me, but the dialect was so strong I could not understand like a word he was saying.
No.
But apparently, sometimes the real Austrians can't even understand those people. So like,
Really?
it wasn't that big of a deal that I didn't
Okay.
understand them.
All right. That's good. Were there any other like funny moments of mistranslation like that happened to you while you were on exchange?
So my very first week in Austria, I took the bus to get into
Yeah.
the city. Everyone got like I knew the name of the stop that I had to get off at, but for
Yeah.
some reason everyone else got off at this one stop. So I was like, okay, like I guess I'll just stay on. This isn't my stop.
Yeah.
And then the bus driver starts yelling at me in German, and I assume, okay, like maybe I have to get out. And
Yeah.
then so I tried to go out the doors that were like nearest to me, but they were like closed, like they were not opening. So I had to walk all the way up to the front of the bus and like walk past him and go out that way.
Oh no.
And it turns out it was because the normally I would have taken a tram, but the
Mhm.
trams were being repaired. So they had like a bus to replace the tram, and it would only
Yeah.
go to like the one stop, and then from there you could change to another bus. But my host mom she'd forgotten to tell me.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough. Oh gosh. I can't
Yeah.
imagine you just sitting there chilling and all of a sudden some dude just starts yelling at you. Oh, I'd have been sweating bullets.
I know. And I didn't understand what he was saying. That was like the
Yeah.
worst part. You kind of just
Oh,
have to
gosh.
like context clues. You
Yeah.
just figure it out.
Yeah, I give you credit. I don't know how I would have handled that situation. Sounded like you handled that with a lot of grace and chill.
I was pretty shaken, but it was okay
Yeah.
after.
And it looks like you got to where you needed to be. So that's
I did.
that's good.
I did. Yes.
So, I know you very recently wrapped up your exchange experience. At the end of your experience, would you say that your dance has improved since being in those classes and programs?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Because the class was so small, like I got a lot of one-on-one with the teacher.
Yeah.
And I do feel more like confident now.
Yeah.
If not just in like those styles, just like in general when I'm like at a party or something, like I just feel more comfortable now, like moving, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And are there any other changes or takeaways that you took from your time on exchange that you noticed now that you're home?
I see a lot of like growth in myself,
Yeah.
which I know it's like really hard to see the changes in yourself. So I think that I'm
Yeah.
able to see that is like insane. And there's probably so many other things that I just haven't realized yet.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, going from like I was 15 when I got there, and then I
Yeah.
turned 16. So like 15 to 16 is like 15 to 16 and a half. Because I was
Yeah.
16, I turned 16 and a half there. It was
Yeah.
like just a crazy amount of growth in myself and like realizations about the world and people and yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad it sounded like a really positive and transformational experience for you.
It was. It definitely
fantastic.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for it.
That's great. I'm curious, are there any like Austrian birthday traditions that you got to do while you were on your birthday there?
I mean, my birthday's in December, so I got
Yeah.
like one of my birthday gifts was like an advent calendar. Oh, because they're huge on advent calendars in Austria. So they have
Really?
an like if you want an advent calendar of like anything, you can probably get it. They had like I had a nail polish advent calendar and it's this like Austrian traditional like wafer biscuit candy called a Mannerschnitte.
Okay.
And it's so good. But I had a advent calendar of that because I like love it.
Yeah.
And they also have like chips advent calendars and like makeup advent calendars, and
Yeah.
my host dad had like a beer advent calendar, I think. So like they have everything. It's crazy.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen people do like the advent calendars here, but it's not like huge, I would say.
It's not as big. Like
No.
here at home when I was younger, like we would always have like Lego advent calendars and chocolate advent calendars, but I had no
Yeah.
idea there was such a wide selection available.
Good to know. It's a great time for Christmas gift shopping. Good.
Yep,
Apparently, Austria is the place to go for advent calendars. That's awesome.
it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And my birthday's in December too.
Oh,
Do you have the unfortunate experience of having your birthday and Christmas lumped together?
not this past year, no. Sometimes family members, like, because we don't see each other, if they live
Yeah.
far away, then it's like,
Yeah. That they get a pass. I get that.
yeah.
Yeah. No, mine
It's
is the day after Christmas, so
Oh,
I get that question all the
okay.
time.
Yeah, mine is like in the beginning of December, so.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
still its own special day. It's not
Yeah,
lumped
a
in
little
with the
bit
birth
more.
of Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah. Not
yeah.
trying to. You can't compete with that.
No, it's true.
For anybody who may be going to Austria on exchange, is there something that you like an item that you would say they have to have on their packing list and there's like no exception for it?
Oh, that's a really good question. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I would just
Yeah.
say, like, don't pack a lot of stuff. Like,
Okay.
underpack for sure, because
Yeah.
I arrived with 2 bags, so I had like a really big suitcase and then a
Mhm.
smaller sort of like duffel bag suitcase, like it's kind of like both. And I
Yeah.
had to buy like another bag that was larger than my suitcase
Yeah.
to come back. So I mean, no specific item. I would just say, like,
Yeah.
don't pack a lot.
Yeah, that's a common question we get, like with trying to prepare students to go abroad, especially with parents. Is they want you to be prepared, so that
Mhm.
we need to give them all this stuff. It's hard to explain why they need to underpack, but no,
Yeah.
it's really true. You should.
It is. And I didn't even buy that much stuff. Like, I don't
Really?
know how this happened. I mean, like, I bought like an okay amount of stuff, but I have friends who
Yeah.
bought like 3 times what I bought. Oh, don't know how they are doing it. Don't know how they
No,
did it.
those international shipping charges are
It's
pretty
so
tough.
expensive. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheaper to just bring another suitcase back on the plane with you.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. And similar question, but for somebody who is going to Austria, is there something or somewhere that you think that everybody should experience or go to while they're there?
I think Vienna. Like,
Okay.
I love Vienna, and my
Yeah.
other exchange student friends, we all love, like, we adore Vienna.
Yeah.
So definitely
Yeah.
just Vienna, at least for one day, walking around in Vienna, it's so gorgeous. It's like a different city feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just like taking every opportunity to travel outside of Austria also. Slovenia was like a 1-hour train ride away. So I went
Okay.
to Slovenia, like I would go to Slovenia to go shopping in the afternoon, and then I would like come back to my host only after that. It
Okay.
was crazy.
Did you notice any differences between Austria and Slovenia while you were there?
I mean, just like I guess the people a little bit, because
Yeah.
Slovenia is like a Slavic country,
Yeah.
so the way they dressed was a little different, but
Okay.
and obviously the language, but
Yeah.
other than that, not really. It was like
Gotcha.
pretty similar architecture, pretty similar vibe.
Okay. And were there any other countries that you got to check out while you were there?
Let me see if I can remember them all.
Ooh,
I went
okay.
so I went to Germany. I
Mhm.
got to be in Munich for a week, and then I went to the Yes seminar, which was in Berlin, which was
Yeah.
like recently.
Yeah.
I went to Italy. I got to
Mhm.
go to Venice and to Trieste and
Mhm.
like the Lake Garda.
Yeah. Awesome.
I went to the Czech Republic. I took my AP German test in Prague.
Whoa.
Prague was also like amazing. I loved Prague.
Yeah.
And I think there's one more that I'm forgetting, but I went to Budapest in Hungary with
Cool.
that was like a YFU organized trip. So I also went there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And out of all the places that you got to check out, is there one that stands out as like your favorite?
I think definitely Prague.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prague is great.
it was.
Shout
yeah.
out to the friends in YFU Czech Republic. They're fantastic
Yes.
over there.
Yes,
Love them.
they are.
After, you had all these experiences, you've got to see so much of Europe. Has your perception and your thoughts around just being in the world and being a global citizen, has any of that changed for you since this experience has ended?
I think it's been like really eye-opening
Yeah.
And I think I'm definitely more like comfortable now being not only on my own, but sort of like traveling around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really cool experience to live somewhere else and to like feel that culture. And I think that really changes your perspective.
Absolutely. And I know we've talked about a lot of different moments during your time abroad, but are there any like memories or funny moments that stand out that we didn't get to talk about that you'd like to share?
For me, I think like the month of June was like, because the last month of the exchange, like you're dialed in, you have your friends, you have the German, you have like that close relationship with your host family. Not like specific memories, but
Yeah.
just like the month of June was awesome. Like probably my best month.
So, and now you're home and going into junior years. So, other than going back to school, what else is next for you?
I'm going to LA today. We're driving to LA.
Hey,
Yeah.
nice.
Which is like so crazy to think though, because we're gonna drive like 5-6 hours, and in
Yeah.
Austria, I would be like in another country by then. But
Oh,
yeah, so I'm going to LA, and then
yeah.
next summer I actually want to do it's like a government sponsored program, and it takes place in either Latvia or in like Kazakhstan, and it's 8 weeks of like Russian
Oh,
intensive.
cool.
So
Whoa,
that's what I want to do next summer. Yeah.
cool.
Oh, I'd love to maybe become like a YFU volunteer someday.
Yeah, can definitely help you with that part. And I didn't get to ask you about the Yes seminar. How
Yeah.
was that for you?
It was really cool. It was
Yeah.
like one whole week with like I don't know if it was 300 exchange students or 400, but we
Whoa.
were like, there was a lot of us.
Yeah.
We had like track sessions.
Okay.
So this year's like focus was it was called like Mission 2030, and it had to do with like the Sustainable Development Goals of
Okay.
the EU.
Yeah.
And we had like different track sessions. Like everyone chose one, and
Yeah.
mine was about like media and the perception of reality and how like media and advertising like influences that. And that was like super interesting to sort of like focus on, because there's things like you've thought about them but you've never thought about them like with such great detail. So we kind of like
Yeah.
we analyzed how music changes the ads like mood. We analyzed like things like that, and it was really cool.
That's so cool. And for those of you who may not know what the Yes is, it's this the youth empowerment seminar that's held over in Germany for exchange students. I believe it's just YFU exchange students as well.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, and it's this yearly seminar that is held, and it covers all sorts of cool topics and gets all these exchange students together to meet and to learn together. It's really sounds like an awesome event. I unfortunately haven't ever been able to go, but I've heard amazing things about the Yes.
Yeah, Americans don't usually go,
Yeah.
but we were like, I think there were like 10 Americans.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Representing.
Awesome. It can be a little pricey to get over there
Yeah.
from here, so makes sense. But I'm glad that you were able to experience it. You and the 9 other American exchange students were able to have that. It's amazing. I guess with us coming to the end here, if people want to keep up with what you're doing or want to ask questions about about going on exchange, where can people find you? Are you on the socials?
I do have Instagram, but I have a private account, and like I only
Yeah.
accept people that I know.
Yeah,
But I
no
have a
problem.
blog. I write a
Yeah.
blog, and I kept it up during my exchange. So I could like send you the link to that.
Yeah, I'd love to read your blog, and we can share it in the show notes so people can
Yeah.
read about your experience and see what it's like. That would be fantastic.
Mhm.
But Marina, again, just thank you so much for taking time to talk with us about your experience and going on exchange. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
And best luck with travels to LA. Hope that goes smoothly too.
Thank you.
And until next time, this has been Life Exchange, Stories of Understanding. I've been your host, Kelsey Ross. We'll see you then. Bye.
Listen to Life Exchange Stories of Understanding now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.